Here comes inflation and down goes Trump. Hello everybody, David Shuster here. Donald Trump, amidst his chaotic and flailing trade wars, just got hit with a brutal punch on the economy. According to the latest government report, wholesale prices for U.S. consumers in July rose far more than expected, and it was the biggest monthly inflation increase in 3 years. Here's how the news broke on CNBC.
Headline number is whoppingly big. Oh my goodness. Up 0.9%. Up 0.9. And if you strip out food and energy, guess what? It's still up 0.9. Boy, that equals June of 22. You're to March of 22 on the headline to find a bigger number. On the core number, that would comp to March of 22, since we've had a number of that magnitude when it was 1.2%. These are kind of COVID-distorted numbers.
That's right. The Consumer Price Index has not jumped this much on a monthly basis since the COVID pandemic. Analysts had been expecting a 0.2% increase for last month. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported 0.9%. On a yearly basis, that averages out to an inflation increase of 3.1%. That's a higher annual inflation rate than the last year of President Biden's term. Economists blame the Trump tariffs. And even before the latest data was released, public surveys found Donald Trump's poll numbers on inflation were way down.
This is an abject disaster. Abject disaster for the President of the United States. You mentioned it, Jessica. Look, voters on Trump and inflation. He won the 2024 election because he was more entrusted on inflation than Kamala Harris was, led by a margin of 9 points. Look at where his net approval stands today, though, on inflation. My goodness gracious. Into the gutter we go. Underwater we go. He's 25 points underwater. My goodness gracious. That is where the Little Mermaid is, and he is matching the Little Mermaid. That's how far underwater he is on the issue that got him elected. He led on by 9 points on it last year, and now he's 25 points underwater. As I said, this is a complete and total disaster for the President of the United States.
If you are keeping score at home, the polls show a 35-point swing against President Trump and his handling of inflation in less than 10 months. And the crash is an even bigger deal when you consider where inflation ranks among voter concerns. Again, CNN's Harry Enton.
It's a runaway. It's inflation. It's 34% compared to the economy, which is basically very similar at 16%, Medicare and Social Security at 14%. But the bottom line is voters in poll after poll after poll say that Donald Trump has taken his eye off the ball, off the big issue of the day, which is inflation, and that is why Donald Trump is way underwater on this issue, and it's why Democrats have caught up to Republicans on the all-important issue of inflation.
The polls show that Democrats as a party are now slightly ahead of Republicans on the issue of who is better trusted on the economy. And that is also a significant turnaround.
If Republicans in Congress think that they can escape the wrath of the voters when it comes to inflation, I have a bit of a rude awakening for them. Trust which party more on inflation? You go back to the 2022 midterms, look at this. Republicans led by 13 points on which party was more trusted in inflation. Look at where we are now. Nearly a 15-point shift in the Democrats' direction. It's within the margin of error, but the Democrats up by a point. This just looks totally different from where we were back in 2022 when, of course, Republicans took back the House. That's what Democrats are trying to do this time around, looking much better for them. The bottom line is the wrath that the voters feel for Donald Trump and inflation is transferring over to House Republicans and now Democrats, although it's a small lead, a big difference from where we were back in October of 2022.
The message from most voters is that Donald Trump and the GOP are not just mishandling the economy, but are also governing with cruelty and hate. Voters overwhelmingly oppose the tax and spending bill that Trump just passed with its massive Medicaid cuts paying for tax breaks for the rich. And on issue after issue, from healthcare to education to deportations, a majority of Americans oppose what Donald Trump and the GOP are doing. And you heard me correctly on deportations. Because while a majority of Americans support tamping down immigration, a majority of Americans also oppose the deportations being carried out and say the sweeps violate due process and trample on constitutional rights. The disgust across the board with all things Trump, including his disregard for the Constitution, has put Republican lawmakers on the defensive. And the GOP town halls continue to be raucous and adversarial. Here's what Republican Doug LaMelfa just faced from a military veteran in Chico, California.
If I, as a military person, had done an iota of what Donald Trump has done, against the Constitution of the United States, I would have been court-martialed. So my question to you is, what are you doing to maintain that separation of power between the Supreme Court, Congress, and the White House?
That's a good and important question. We in the U.S. House and the Senate need to assert our portion of that triad. And, much power is vested in the executive branch. And we've seen that grow over the years and years with the executive orders, the Biden era set, for example.
As you can see, blaming the Biden administration is not working for congressional Republicans, and it's only making their constituents more angry. And that anger and irritation are going to build. Because with each passing month, crucial data on key issues like the economy show Donald Trump triggering higher inflation, sharper rises in consumer prices, and more unemployment. And the numbers are higher than the last year of the Biden administration. And Donald Trump swept into office over Kamala Harris on promises to strengthen the economy and bring down prices. Many Trump voters are realizing they have been conned and are paying for it financially. To be clear, a lot can change before the 2026 midterm elections, but Republicans are clearly now on a losing track, and the Trump economy and the state of our nation, according to most voters, are getting worse. By the way, Donald Trump's ICE agents in Los Angeles are now facing legal exposure after assaulting and arresting a U.S. citizen.
Get off her head! Get off me! Get off your knees! Get off me! Get it off!
Get back.
Get off her head!
In Los Angeles, that is Amanda Trebach, a nurse and U.S. citizen who was observing ICE agents near their staging area.
Get off me! This is public property, sir!
ICE, says Trebach, threatened agents with a protest sign.
This is ICE beating her up. They got her knee on her head. I'm where I need to be 10 feet, so...
You guys get her in the van?
Sir, you okay?
Yeah, my keys are in there.
Okay.
Get back.
And you got 10
10
feet.
feet away from us.
It is 10 feet. You a brown man. You should be ashamed of your mother selves. You guys are on the wrong side of history. You're going to be in history books. Are they hurting you?
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us. Hello everybody, David Shuster here. Thanks for watching. If you found this reporting and commentary valuable, do us a favor and tap the like button. For more content like this, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you'll be notified on your YouTube homepage when we drop a new video. If you are tired of corporate spin and want honest, people-focused news, click the join button below and be part of the fight for a better future. We wouldn't be here without your support. Stay informed, stay engaged, and thanks again for joining us.